Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're constantly bombarded with these absolutely wild, sensational claims and viral mysteries all over the internet, right? It can be literally impossible to separate fact from digital fiction. But, well, that's exactly what we're here to do. We're going to take a totally objective look at the source material and break it down piece by piece. Today, we're diving into a piece of internet lore that is just mind-blowing. It's a claim that sits right at the intersection of insane wealth and honestly almost certain death. So get ready, because we are decoding the deadliest job, the 20 Crore mystery, and we're going to look right at the raw data that started this whole wild claim.
Okay, let's dive into this. 20 Crore. That is an absolutely astronomical figure. We're not just talking about a good salary here. This is literal generational wealth. It's the kind of money that completely stops you mid-scroll and kind of short-circuits the logical part of your brain. And that's exactly the point. When a claim leads with a massive number like this, it's designed to be the ultimate hook. It promises the absolute pinnacle of financial reward. But, as you've probably guessed, in the world of viral claims, an extreme positive like that is almost always hiding an equally extreme negative.
And here is that extreme negative, 0.2%. I really want you to visualize this survival rate for a second. If you had a room packed with 1,000 highly qualified people who took this mysterious job, only 2 of them would actually walk out alive to collect that 20 crore paycheck. 998 of them wouldn't make it. The immediate, jarring contrast between the massive wealth we just saw and this razor-thin survival margin really sets up the central tension of our mystery. What in the world could possibly pay so much, yet be so fundamentally lethal?
To figure that out, we gotta go straight to the source. What we're looking at is the translated title of a source uploaded by the popular channel Maya Jal. It reads, Salary 20 crore. But still, no one wants to do this job. Only 0.2% of people return alive. This is the exact phrasing used to broadcast this sensational claim out to the world. And you have to admit, it's a total masterclass in curiosity gap framing. It throws a massive paradox right at you. Unprecedented money, but absolutely zero willing applicants. Now, we don't just take a headline like this at face value, right? We're going to use it as the starting line for our investigation.
Let's break down the core proposition here logically. We're essentially weighing the ultimate reward, that massive 20 crore salary, against the ultimate risk, which is a 99.8% chance of death and, understandably, 0 actual applicants. By weighing these out, you can really see the psychology behind a viral claim like this. It forces you to play this sort of morbid hypothetical game, asking you to weigh your own life against an abstract mountain of cash. But, psychology aside, we actually need to know what the job is. And to find that out, we have to dig way past the headline and look directly at the raw data from the source's transcript.
Section 1. The evidence, decoding the raw data.
Okay, we're going to treat this unedited, auto-generated text like a literal cryptographic puzzle. And yeah, you are reading that correctly. 4444444444444. It's just a wall of digital noise. Honestly, it's kind of hilarious. Sometimes, when audio is super unclear or maybe layered with heavy sound effects, auto-generated captioning systems just completely hallucinate and get stuck in these endless loops of nonsense syllables. At first glance, this looks entirely useless, right? But as an investigator, you learn pretty quickly that even inside a completely broken machine, there are gears that still turn. We just have to filter out all that noise.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real stakes here. While the auto-generated transcript is busy spitting out total nonsense words, we absolutely cannot forget the deadly reality the source is claiming. The numbers are staggering. That tiny, almost invisible sliver of a 0.2% survival rate stacked against a massive, overwhelming 99.8% fatality rate. Somewhere beneath that huge wall of garbled text, there is an actual explanation. There is an incredibly deadly occupation just waiting to be uncovered. We just need to look a little closer at the fragments the AI actually managed to get right.
All right, now we're getting somewhere. We've gone in and isolated the only actually intelligible keywords from that totally chaotic transcript. First, the AI heard Horseman Shield, which we can pretty logically extract as human shield. Next up, it heard Kim Jong-uno, which is undeniably Kim Jong-un. And then, well, we have a hook fori, which we're just going to safely toss into the unknown noise category. By really acting like investigative journalists here and filtering the raw data, this whole picture is suddenly coming into sharp, terrifying focus.
So, the crucial point is, when we piece together those extracted clues from the garbled data, we finally get our answer. A human shield for Kim Jong-un. According to the source, this is the 20 crore job. The world's deadliest occupation, pulled right from those hidden transcript clues. And suddenly that crazy 99.8% fatality rate makes a horrifying kind of sense, doesn't it? The narrative they're selling is that this job literally requires standing between one of the most heavily guarded figures on the planet and imminent, deadly danger. It completely strips the mystery out of the math and replaces it with extreme, life-threatening peril.
So we've journeyed from a super sensational headline straight through a wall of chaotic data just to uncover the lethal occupation at the very heart of this viral mystery. But you know, the ultimate takeaway from this explainer isn't just about what the job actually is. It's about the fundamental premise this whole claim forces us to confront. Seriously, ask yourself, is any amount of wealth, even 20 crore, actually worth a 0.2% chance of living to spend it? It is a pretty profound thought experiment hidden right inside a wild internet claim. Thank you so much for joining me to decode this source material today. Stay curious, keep analyzing the data, and I'll see you in the next explainer.